Hi everyone, Water Dragon here. I've been a long time lurker on YouTube, and I think it's about time that I start to join in on all of these fun videos that I've been watching. One that caught my eye recently was a crystal train that Crimson Fyre and Avalon had done. And it made me realise that I've got a lot of crystals in my collection that I've had for a long period of time, and some of them have got a really nice story, so I thought it would be fun to share that with you today. This is just a selection of some of the crystals I have here in front of me, mostly my tumbles. There's a couple that I've actually got as of today, and I apologise for the sound of my bird in the background. It's late afternoon here, so he's joining in with all the lorikeets and all the birds that are feeding in the trees around this room. I quite like the noise, but yeah, it might be a bit distracting. Sorry about that, folks. Okay, so what we have here, you can probably recognise this little guy is a selenite tower, and I have bought him because my little infant daughter's having bad dreams at the moment. And selenite's not a stone that I've really worked with a lot previously. I've got a long sort of thin raw piece that you'll see in a moment. And I didn't actually realise that it could be polished until, the last couple of years or so, and it's just one I've never actually added to my collection, but I was really happy to find this guy here today at my local country markets. Lovely gentleman. I was talking to him for a while and picked up this little baby, so I'm going to start working with him fairly soon because, the whole bad dream thing, it's just breaking my heart seeing her wake up crying, my goodness. This one's really interesting. I've not actually seen it before. It's prehnite, and he wasn't sure what the inclusions are. I'm not sure if the camera will focus in that well. I'll have to do some research about it, but I was immediately really drawn to the crystal. And when I researched it a bit when I got home, it's considered like an all-purpose healer, be it for spiritually or physically. So that seemed quite cool to get that in a generator. Blue calcite we have here. Not worked with that before, so that'll be really interesting. Kumbaba jasper. This guy soothes nerves and promotes a peaceful state of mind. So I think we can all use a little bit of that now and again. That seemed like a good little find. Green chrysoprase. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. This one is for, I don't have my notes here, damn it, I had written it down, but for whatever purpose this guy's good for, it was definitely something that I wanted to have in my life. And this is blue apatite. Oh, I hope I'm saying that correctly as well. It's so hard when you only really read the words, you don't hear it too often, but that's good for meditation and clairvoyance, so yes please. So here's a little selection of tumbles. You've got some rose quartz and some sodalite and other little bits and bobs. You can tell that I'm quite a fan of clear quartz. It's probably my favourite stone. That might be a little bit boring for some, but I think there's just something really beautiful about, the way that it looks, but also the fact that you can charge it up for virtually any purpose. It's kind of like the rosemary of stones. Really enjoy that guy. I've included a couple of little geodes as well. This one it's got a funny story, sort of funny story. My uncle is a gemologist, and he does lapidaries in a lapidary club, and also did a lot of fossicking when he was younger. So most of the larger stones that I've got in my collection were actually very generous gifts. And I didn't realise quite how generous they were until I tried to buy stones of a similar size later in life, and I thought, my God, he was extremely generous, and a lot of these he's pulled out of the ground himself, so that's very special, but I digress. This guy here, he was given to me when I was very young, when I was in primary school. That's focused up a little bit nicer. And I think it might have been year 2. We had to bring something in for show and tell, and I brought in this beautiful little geode because I can get lost. I mean, take a look at that gorgeous little arm up in the right hand corner. Like, it's just fascinating. You can get really lost in this stone. So even as a little young'un, I really enjoyed looking at crystals and minerals. So I brought it in for show and tell, and the other kids just could not give a shit. They were so bored by it. They were like, "You're so weird. Why would you bring in a stone? It's like so boring. You know, take a look at my whatever toy." Yeah, so crystals aren't for everyone, but when you like them, you really like them. So just happy to show that one off. It's probably where the start of my fascination began. I think I expressed interest, and then my uncle was quick to be like, "Oh, yay, she's into them. I'll give her some more." So yes, that was very nice. And then moving around, got some bigger, whoops, that's not a good thing to do with a brand new selenite tower and a fragile stone. More quartz clusters. Moving on to some amethyst. Oh, that's a little river stone that's escaped into this pile. It shouldn't be there. A little moonstone, amethyst, a fluorite. I've got an awful lot of fluorite. Another much larger piece that I'll show you in a moment, but I do quite like the raw pieces. I think they're really interesting. There's something just, it's a different feel, a tumbled, polished, compared to a raw stone. Just really lovely. What else there? Nice red jasper, lapis lazuli. I think this is ocean jasper. I must admit, some of these stones I've had for years and years, and some of them sort of sat in a box when I was living in smaller houses and just didn't have anywhere to put them or anywhere safe to put them, so they lived in storage for a long period of time, and I've sort of forgotten some of their names. So I've got another little section over here of TBC. I have to reconfirm those. Maybe a very light amethyst, maybe obsidian. Yeah, I'm really not sure. Pyrite. I love pyrite. That was one of my original pieces, and then a very dear friend of mine, when I went on maternity leave, she gifted me this piece. So I was really flattered and excited to get this piece, because there's so many little square shapes, and the way the light reflects, it's just, yeah, it's something else. It's really nice. And you can probably tell how long I've had this nice hunk of rose quartz for, because there's a dolphin on top. You don't get many things with dolphins on top outside of the 90s, but yeah, he's just, I like this little guy. He's going to go into the bedroom with me again to help try and, that was a chair I just ran into, to sort of help my daughter get some nice sleep. So selenite and the rose quartz, all sort of charged up for purpose, should do the trick. What else? There's fluorite tea light holders. That was another very lovely gift. And I do believe he's made that himself. He's even put the velvet backing underneath so they don't scratch. This was probably the second sort of geode that I received as a gift. I love how it's got this little top to it. I think that's really cool. And in my youth, it's probably going to go reversed. Anyway, you can't read the initials too much, but in my youth, so arrogant, when I'd receive these as a gift, I'd be like, "Oh, you're so kind, you put my initials on the back." And then he's like, "That's my initials." And we just happen to have the same initials, and I've never actually paid much attention to that before. So, wow, teenagers, right? And then, yeah, these are some other cool little geodes. I've carted these guys around with me for years because they look like little bats, and I just think that's incredible. A little heart-shaped stone. Stones with holes in them, I just go nuts for them. I seem to find them quite a bit. I've got a few in my collection. Petrified wood, pumice, and stones that I pick up around the place because, if they catch your eye and you're drawn to them, I think they're just as powerful as, a crystal with recognised properties. This guy is one of my favourites. You see how he's got that slight dip in there? It is the perfect shape to fit on your cheek. And when you're not feeling well or you need to sort of calm down, this stone is incredibly soothing. I've always called it my goddess stone. It just feels like it's super earthy and watery and got lots of mermaid vibes. It's really cool. And then moving over onto my altar space, I've got some of my bigger guys. Really nice piece of fluorite here. I think it's meant to be a bookend or a paperweight. I'm not sure. It's a little bit hard to demonstrate how big the piece is because I do happen to have gigantic man hands with really massive palms, but trust me, this guy probably weighs, I don't know, like 1.5 kilos. Really, really nice size. Pop him back there. And one of my absolute favourite pieces of rose quartz. I've never found a sphere that I feel so drawn to. Oh, once again, very, very heavy. Just so nice. And you could stare at this one for hours. I mean, what's going on inside? There's just so much going on. And yeah, hefty as. And the little ring that I've got it standing on, I don't know, I found it at like a charity shop or a market or something when I was much, much younger. I don't quite know what it is, what it was meant to be for originally, but yeah, I'm super into it. That's my original piece of selenite, really cool. Smoky quartz, another beautiful bit of quartz here. It's just fits nicely in your hand. Looks almost like a weapon, but yes, only used for good things, I assure you. And then, yeah, probably my favourite piece of citrine. I've had that guy for a long time, and this rose quartz here has just been with me for forever, and I really, really love this piece. I feel like it's a him for some reason, but yeah, it's a him. And I think that's actually it for my crystal train. Once I've got them all out, I must admit, I felt like I had more. I really hope I haven't lost any in my travels over the years. I didn't really talk about these ones in the centre, did I? No. So, faded out citrine. He used to be so much more vibrant. Apparently you can't tell a 16-year-old don't leave your citrine in the sun because, you know, we don't listen. And this lovely guy here in the middle, he was bought to replace this guy that I thought was lost. This has probably been the most special crystal in my life forever, without a doubt. It was another very, very generous gift from my uncle, probably Christmas or birthday one year, but a very, very powerful healer. I used to actually lug him around, once again a he somehow. I used to lug him around, when I was in my late teens, maybe early 20s, and you'd go out and you'd be drinking all night long and you'd just absolutely write yourself off. So this was my very, very long-winded and very heavy hangover cure because just spending any amount of time with this stone, it just seemed to get rid of anything that was, bothering me, even ridiculous self-induced illnesses such as drinking too much. But another reason why this guy's very, very special to me is we actually thought he was lost about 1.5 years ago, maybe 2 years ago, after we had moved. My husband and I had moved down south, and we were unpacking, and there was a lot of boxes that hadn't been unpacked for some time, and I was just thinking I hadn't gotten around to finding this particular crystal yet, hadn't unpacked that box, and I kept on thinking it's got to be here somewhere. And then we got to the end of the boxes and I'm like, where on earth is it? And I don't know what it's like in any other country, but in Australia, or at least in the states that I've lived in, there's something called hard garbage collection, and you can put out general like household waste a couple of times per year and the council collects it for free, but it's typically a fairly good recycling fest because people put their stuff out there a few days before the truck comes around, and you can go out there and just sort of pick what you want off the street, and no one is in the slightest bit concerned about it. It's actually really awesome. So in the end, very little goes into landfill. Most of it gets reused. And yeah, a couple of the boxes that I was sure, contained these crystals, I was pretty sure that my husband had accidentally taken them out to the side of the road and left it there, and they had gone missing. So I thought this guy was gone, and I thought this guy was gone. So I was absolutely crushed, and we had the most, we had a really big fight about it. It was not so great. And I was gutted for like a week. I was so upset. And then I just tried to reassure myself and say, oh, you know, crystals, they come and they go. When you no longer need them, they move on and they, you know, help someone else. And I guess I was just kind of getting by on the skin of my teeth, just thinking someone's found it, that really needed it, it'll be okay. And yeah, anyway, like a couple of months later, I was pregnant, but I had sort of gotten around to finding a way to tell my husband. And he was out in the garage one day and was looking through some boxes that I swear that I had checked, that I had torn apart multiple times, could not find anything. Anyway, he calls me downstairs, he's like, you know, my name. I won't tell you my real name. And so I came downstairs and he had this in his hand with the other one, with the rose quartz. And I just immediately burst into tears, and I just thought, oh God, you've come back into my life because I needed you. You know, you never actually left me. And yeah, it was just an incredible moment. The wave of relief. I can't describe how I felt when I thought he was lost. But yeah, basically he'd been bought to try and replace this guy after he'd been lost. And you know, he's an absolutely lovely piece, but I just couldn't connect to it. It didn't have the same history that this beautiful piece had. I don't know how much detail you can pick up just on my iPhone, but it's a massive cluster. I mean, there's so many generators in there, it's not funny. I know this crystal so well that if it was a missing person, I could probably describe to the sketch artist precisely what it looked like. Every single nook and cranny, every single little facet. Yeah, I'm just intimately acquainted with it. Really, truly lovely. So I guess I'm really curious if anyone else has got any crystals or minerals that they have such a strong connection to. I'd love to hear anything from you guys in the comments. So if you want to get into a bit of a chat about crystals and how they've sort of impacted your life, yeah, please hit me up. I'd love to chat. Thank you for watching. If you're still hanging around to this point, I will see you next time. Okay, bye.